Relationships. This word carries within it an entire universe of human experiences. Love, friendship, family, forgiveness, trust, pain, reunion. At some point, all of us have been touched by a relationship, whether it was one of affection or conflict. To live is to relate, and learning to relate is one of the greatest spiritual and emotional lessons life can offer us. From the moment we are born, we depend on connections, the touch of a mother, the gaze of a friend, the embrace of someone who understands us. Prolonged loneliness makes us sick, but bonds can also hurt. The truth is, love and pain go hand in hand, because only those who allow themselves to love risk being hurt. Yet it is love that makes us truly human. Take a moment and think about the people who have passed through your life. Some taught you with sweetness, others taught you with pain, but all of them taught you something. Relationships are mirrors. They reveal parts of ourselves that we wouldn't see alone. A loyal friend shows the value of presence. A disguised enemy shows how much discernment we need. True love shows the power of forgiveness. And sometimes, it is precisely in the most difficult relationships that God or life works most deeply within us. There is a passage in the Bible that says, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres." 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. These words transcend any religion. They speak of the essence of mature love, which does not seek self-interest but the good of the other. Loving this way is an art and a spiritual discipline. It is the kind of love that builds bridges where the ego would erect walls. But love is not always reciprocated. Sometimes you give your all and yet are betrayed, ignored, or forgotten. And that hurts, because the human heart thirsts for reciprocity. When that thirst is not quenched, resentment arises. And this is where many lose their way, letting love turn into bitterness. One of the most beautiful metaphors about this is the story of the cracked pot. Once a man carried 2 clay pots, one perfect and the other cracked. Every day he filled them both with water and carried them along the road to his house. The cracked pot, ashamed, said, "I am useless because I always arrive with only half the water." But the man replied, "Do you notice the flowers along the way? I planted seeds there, and it was the water you spilled that made them grow." Some relationships are like this. Not all last, not all are perfect, but some leave flowers along the way. Life does not ask us to have flawless relationships, but true ones. To be true is to love consciously. It is to know when to stay and when to let go. Some people are bridges, others are harbors, and some are just passing landscapes. And that's okay. What matters is that each fulfills the purpose it was meant to fulfill. Jesus said in Matthew 22:39, "Love your neighbor as yourself." This phrase carries profound balance. It reminds us that loving others is not about self-annihilation, but about harmony. Healthy love begins within. Those who do not love themselves end up trying to be loved at any cost, and this leads to pain. Loving yourself is respecting your limits, your emotions, and the timing of each process. In relationships, forgiveness is perhaps the greatest act of love. Forgiving is not forgetting. It is freeing yourself from the prison of resentment. It is saying, "What you did hurt me, but it will not define me." Forgiving is an act of spiritual courage because it requires letting go of being right in order to have peace. And when we forgive, something within us aligns once more. There are those who remain trapped in the past, trying to rewrite what has already happened. Others isolate themselves, afraid of being hurt again. But the path to healing is always the same: reconciliation with one's own story. Relationships are not only external bonds, they are internal reflections. If you do not relate well to yourself, no relationship will feel light. Imagine for a moment a tree. Its roots are your values, the trunk is your identity, and the branches are your relationships. If the roots are healthy, the branches flourish. But if the roots are sick, if there is pride, fear, or neediness, the branches wither. Healing relationships begins within us. It begins when we honestly face our wounds and ask, "May I learn to love better?" And when you begin to heal, your relationships change. New people come close. Old ones transform. Some drift away, and all of this is part of the process. Love attracts love. Peace attracts peace. Now pause for a moment and take a deep breath. Think of someone you need to reconcile with, maybe someone you hurt, or someone who hurt you. Now listen to this prayer. Lord of life, Teach us to love as love was meant to be. Heal in us what prevents true connection. Free us from fear, pride, and resentment. May our relationships be bridges of growth, not prisons of pain. Help us forgive, start anew, and walk in peace. Amen. This prayer does not need religion. It is a universal plea for healing, because all of us at some point need to learn to love again. Relationships are the ground where we grow spiritually the most. It is easy to be kind when no one tests you. The hard part is maintaining peace when someone hurts you. It is through relationships that the soul matures. So, before asking for a perfect relationship, ask for the wisdom to love with maturity. Ask for discernment, to recognize who should stay and who has already fulfilled their purpose in your story. And remember, there is no love without vulnerability. To love is to allow yourself to be touched. It is to risk disappointment, yet still believe it is worth it. After all, as another passage says, and above all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Colossians 3:14. Love is the link that connects everything. When you choose to love, even after pain, loss, and disappointment, something changes in the world. And the world needs this kind of love. A love that does not depend on what others do, but on who you are. If this video touched your heart, share it. Write in the comments what love has taught you so far. What kind of relationship transformed you? Subscribe to continue this journey of growth. And remember, love never fails, it only teaches.